I've got a bone to pick with you, Jason. None of your videos came with a disclaimer, and you owe me a lot of money. None of my frickin' shirts fit no more, man. I mean, seriously, I've had some of these shirts for 10 years, never had any issues. And then you come along, oh, listen to your own body. Don't be a follower. Now look. Try higher rep ranges, he says. Your shirts won't fit no more. Oh, wait, didn't get that memo. Buy one of my shirts, he says. Oh, wait, so it won't fit in a month, so I have to buy another one? Conspiracy. Literally had to go to Goodwill and spend like, I don't know, like 20 bucks on like 50 shirts. But still, okay? In all seriousness, I'm not the biggest guy around. I'm not huge, but I'm breaking through walls, and I'm having a great time growing, and it's all because of you, and I appreciate you and all your advice. Mountain.
Train the muscles, not the joints. Okay, first I want to talk about one thing though, and this is bodybuilding related, so like I said, I'm going to combine a couple things here. There's one stupid thing that's perpetuated in the fitness circles, and this usually happens with really young people. You know, people are 20 years old or something like that, so they kind of don't really know what life can bring. They have oversimplified ideas of things, and I was one of these people when I was 20, where they would look at a person like that's had an injury of some sort, and then judge that person physically based on that injury instead of what the person's history pre-injury was. So for instance, you would say a guy that's bound to a wheelchair that he doesn't know how to train legs. Just because the guy's in a wheelchair and he had an accident and his legs are small doesn't mean he doesn't know how to train legs. It just means that he had a particular accident that prevented him from training legs the way he used to, right? So I recently just had a commenter say that my chest development is behind my shoulder development or whatever, and that somehow this means something. Well, the thing is, it's a really freaking stupid comment, because the fact is that my chest, I would say it's not super underdeveloped, but it's not as developed as it could be, only because of the dislocating shoulder injury and the rotator cuff tear that I had on the other side. So what happened was the shoulders became more unstable. So the shoulders, and I've explained this a million times, but the shoulders take over the movement in chest exercises more so than they did pre-injury. But if you look back at my competition days, my chest was never undeveloped. So when somebody makes a comment and says, hey Jason, your chest is underdeveloped, it doesn't hold weight as far as saying whether I have credibility and knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to training chest. Before the injury, my chest was always in proportion with my body. It was always fine. And every time I won a competition, it was never a consideration. If anything, the judges would just say that my legs were too big. That was the biggest consideration back in the day. Funny enough, when you dislocate a shoulder and the shoulder's sliding forward and back in the joint, you just don't recruit the chest the same way as you would if the shoulder labrum is totally healthy, right? So that's a big factor. Now, I'm still working on the chest, still trying to bring it up and everything like that. And the funny thing is, I probably train my chest more than I train any other body part. But hey, life happens, injuries happen, circumstances happen, and as you get older, you'll realize this, instead of just assuming that things are always the same, right? Yeah, the curse of youth, oversimplifying things and making false leaps of logic. That's just the way it is. So, hey, I know how to train chest. I know how to work the body in many different ways and get results. But yeah, there's some things that are hard to overcome, like broken arms, broken legs, broken labrums, torn ligaments. You know, these types of things are hard to overcome. So, hey, that's just life. But because I've experienced these things, I have a lot more to teach. So yeah, you guys are reaping the rewards from it. Okay, the rant done. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about floor presses. Now, I know I made a video on floor presses before, and the fact that I never really did them that much, but there is one valid point about floor presses that I was talking to somebody in the comments about. And it may be a valid reason of why you might want a floor press instead of bench press. And I'm not saying it's a direct replacement, it is different, but that's the whole reason why you might want to do it. One of the reasons is that when you are floor pressing, when your elbows touch the ground, you give basically the constant tension, you give the delts a rest. Because for some people, when they're holding the weight under tension all the time when they're benching, their actual delts are what give out first, not their chest. Now, if you're one of these people, like myself, perhaps resting at the bottom, but not under danger, like not under super extension, like in bench press, like if you're resting at the bottom, sometimes your chest is caving in, stuff like that. You might be overstretching the joints. So in a floor press, this is impossible. Just like a rack press. If the pins are put there, you won't be overstressing the joints, right? Because you're actually resting on the rack. So with the floor press, this is also true. Now, the thing is, you might find that you give your delts a little bit of a rest. Basically, you're not stopping the set way before your chest hits failure. You're basically able to hit failure with the chest, but the delts aren't actually the weak link in the movement, right? That's the whole point. The delts might not be the weak link for you. So welcome to my workout. I like the feel of that. Experiment with this, just try this out. Do floor presses, and when you're doing them, see which muscle group gives out first. And if it is your chest, guess what? That might be a better exercise than bench press if the opposite is true for bench, right? Now, the other thing I like about floor presses, which I just really discovered, is that my bench press in my garage is really soft. So as soon as I put different amounts of weight, my groove actually changes. My groove totally changes. And because of that, because the bench is not stable, it throws me off a little bit, especially seeing as my shoulders are a little bit uncentered because of the injury, the dislocated shoulder from hockey thing. So I find that floor presses I'm a little bit more stable, so I'm not fighting the stability so much in order to get a good exercise on the chest. The other thing is with floor presses is that during normal bench I stop about 2 inches above the chest, or 1.5 inches or whatever, depending on what I feel like doing that day or whatever. So during floor presses, I'm actually at the exact same range of motion as I normally do with bench. So it just makes sense for me to lay on the floor instead of use my bench, have a more stable background, and I seem to be getting a little bit more chest involvement from that. But I'm going to be doing an experiment on this, but I'm just kind of putting it out there for you guys to try it out and not judge floor presses as maybe the weaker cousin of bench press, because it might be a more effective exercise. It might. I'm just open to that idea. So that's what I'm trying out right now. I just started trying it yesterday, and it feels kind of good. It just feels different, feels good, and yeah, I'll let you guys know how it goes. So yeah, I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you need to go home, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters. Take care for now. Let's get busy, do some work, man. Got some work to do. Got some work to do, man. Mountain.
Hostile forces eliminated.
All objectives complete. Stand down.
Mountain.